Hey, you archers out there. Today, first of all, my name's Tom Crowe, and I want to give you a tip about how I learned to judge yardage. But first of all, I want to give you a little bit of background for the people who don't know me. I actually, I live in southwestern Oregon, and I started shooting a bow in 1980. I love to hunt, so that's how I started out hunting. 1982, an acquaintance of mine asked me if I wanted to go to an archery tournament. I had no idea there was such a thing as archery tournaments. And so I went, and I got my butt handed to me. I took either last or close to last place. Now this was a field tournament where all the yardages are marked shooting at round targets, National Field Archers Association. Well, I don't like getting beat, so I went home and practiced and started going to local tournaments, all NFAA tournaments, and pretty soon I started winning a little bit and getting on the podium. And then a few years later, I started traveling a little bit further out of Oregon into Washington, all over the Pacific Northwest and California, Idaho, and I was starting to make a name for myself, and somebody told me, well, I should start trying to make some money at this game. And in 1990, 10 years later, I joined the Pro Division in the National Field Archers Association Pro Division, and I did okay. I was making money at most of my tournaments, but still, I was still working a job, so I could only shoot tournaments on the weekends. And I'd $200 or $300 in a tournament, which was paying for the tournament, but it wasn't what I really wanted to do. Well, then come about 1990, I decided to join the professional division of the NFAA. Well, that worked out okay, but now I had to spend a lot more money traveling, flying to different places all over the United States. Actually, I've been to 14 different countries shooting tournaments. And I was making a little bit of money, but still not enough to live on. Well, in 1996, somebody told me about a new organization that had been open for a couple of years called the ASA, the Archery Shooters Association. Well, I thought I'd give it a try. I thought, well, shoot, those point and punch guys, they won't have a chance because I'm doing well all over the country. Well, I learned a whole lot first few tournaments I went to. Those guys knew how to shoot a bow, and they knew how to judge targets. I did not know how to judge targets. So I went through the whole first year, 1996, not winning a penny in 3D. I still shot a few target tournaments and made a little bit of money there, but it's not what I was after. I became a pro. I wanted to shoot professionally. I wanted to make a living at it. Well, there wasn't hardly anybody actually making a living, but I found out this ASA tournament tour, they paid $10,000 for first place in the Open Pro Division, automatic, $10,000. For Shooter of the Year was $50,000, and I said, hey, I can do that. Well, like I said, I didn't make a penny that first year. If I didn't, I decided that the next year, if I didn't make any money, I was done shooting the Pro Series 3D. I shot the first couple tournaments, nothing. Well, then I thought, you know what? I need to buy some targets. So I broke down and bought 9 McKenzie targets. Because I was used to shooting marked yardage all the time, I set them up at exactly 40 yards, and I sat there and looked at them. I looked at them, and I thought, there's a thing called seeing. I think it's called seeing in your mind's eye. If you stare at something for, say, 30 seconds without blinking, and then close your eyes, you can still see that image in your mind's eye. So I had looking at my mule deer. I stood there 40 yards and stared at that mule deer. Then I closed my eyes and I could still see that mule deer. It's almost like a negative of the mule deer. I turned around and took 5 steps backwards, and then opened my eyes again, and I went, wow, what a difference. You know, just looking at it, I saw the mule deer this big. When I backed up just 5 yards, it went from there to this big. I thought, wow, I think I'm onto something here. So again, I stood at 40 yards, stood there looking at the targets, picked out a deer. I don't remember if it was a mule deer or not, but I picked up a deer, stared at it, closed my eyes, and took 5 steps forward, just 5 yards. And it went from this big to this big. It doubled in size. And I'm going, wow, I know I'm onto something now. So I started looking at the size of the animal at different yardages. And the very next tournament I went to, I won it. And I hadn't even won a penny yet. It was the Cabela's series shot 6 or 7 tournaments. I don't remember. I think it was 7. And their tournament in Mesa, Arizona. I ended up winning the tournament, and then from then on, I just started doing really well. And by visualizing the target at the different distances, I learned that you measure, you look at the target. Cut.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Noisy background.
Yeah, you look at the target, and you just get a feel for how far it is away. Now, I know a lot of people don't own 3D targets, but if you're serious about shooting 3D, it's a good idea to get at least a few. And that first year in 1996, I was so used to shooting marked yardage tournaments that I thought I could just judge on the ground. But you go to tournaments, and some tournaments you're judging across water. Sometimes a little hill might be on the way, or a dip. You've got different terrains. That particular tournament in Mesa, Arizona, that first one I won, had all kinds of dips and cactus and trees and everything that you had to, you couldn't see the ground. And I know that by learning to know how far the target is away, or a good idea what the target is from different distances, taught me to learn yardage. And there's one other thing I do, which I have what I call my head yardage, which is what when I look at a target, that's what I see my head yardage. If it's out, when I say it's over 40-45 yards in that area, I will find the halfway point, which is pretty easy to do on flat ground, if it's flat ground. And then I'll judge to that point. But if that conflicts with what I see in my head, I always go with the head yardage. And I very seldom ever change my mind, because when I do, I should have left it where it was. That's if you can try that. There's lots of guys do it different ways, but that's worked for me, and it's been very successful over the years. I've been a professional archer now since 1990, so that's 26 years, shooting 3D for 18 years, and I've had a pretty good career, and judging yardage that way. So give it a try, see what happens.